All right, you guys ready? Let's call the meeting to order with a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Tony Biancardi,
Here.
Jim Constantine,
Here.
and Angie Scott is absent.
Approval of the August 16, 2023 minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 16th.
I will second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We have correspondence, letter dated September 29th of 2023 from Global Engineering in regards to the village in Burns Harbor phases 5, 6, 7, 8 infrastructure construction. Shem, do you want to comment on that?
Sure thing. It's basically an approval. So the subdivision was approved actually a year ago. Well, I'm sorry, the subdivision was approved way back, but the erosion control plan was approved, I think it was last year, and it went through the county. So they have the NOI, they have everything in accordance, I guess, with the MS4. But in this case, since the town now is an MS4 entity, the town is actually doing the inspection as well.
Okay. And you're all good with that bill and everything? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Do you have anything else to report under the engineer report?
The only one item, I guess, is the application and the fees for it. I know we talked about it last. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the application, the permit application, I guess we talked about, and the fee, and this needs to be probably maybe discussed further, or if no fees, I guess will be decided. But I just want to bring it up, I guess, for discussion.
So, sure. At the council meeting, we talked about the need to incorporate those fees. We will have a draft ordinance in November that we will set for a public hearing in December, and then they will be a part of that application.
Okay, sounds good.
So we're on track.
Very
to take
good.
care of
Thank
that.
you.
Yep. Anything else?
No, thank you so much.
Sorry, I'm on ball break too, Chef. Okay, old business, future infrastructure projects. Other than the Haglin Road, is there?
No, other than what's going on, like you said, in the village, and but as far as future, here in a little bit.
And then I know we talk about this often, but are there plans like for our ditches?
So we had that working out, and now it's kind of, I gotta get with Brandon and work some with that. But they are supposed to be, we did come up with a tracking sheet with the emails on that. So they're supposed to start tracking that as they go through and at least keep them clean.
Okay.
And then we need to come up with a plan, as we talked before, when we get more of a formal budget on which ones are the worst ones as we go through with MS4, on which ones that actually need to be excavated out,
Yeah.
so that they flow properly. But our street department can't do that because we don't have the proper excavator for that. So it'd be bad us putting a list together and saying these are the most ones, the most shallow, and these are the ones that we need to shoot and then have excavated out.
Okay, and even probably just doing a visual during a storm,
Oh yeah, that would help.
right, to see, okay. Yeah, I guess we don't wanna lose sight of that, cause that'll make a big difference. I know, I'm sure over the years, the ditches that we've got have.
And I think our best tool with that is gonna be obviously the street department, because they have the equipment, and as they're out doing that, maybe start notating which ditches are flowing and which ones ain't. We have directional, we know that by obviously our site, by the map. But I think they'll be able to tell that better than anybody else. So I'll definitely touch base with that.
Okay. MS4 program progress. Corinne, do you have anything on that?
I would just report that Part B was submitted to IDEM and received in late September, so that's all I have.
Okay, and are we planning on mailing communication in November with like the sanitation books? Is that?
I always put a little page in there about, you know, how you can keep stormwater clean.
Right.
So I plan on doing that again. I mean, if we want something else to go out,
I don't know.
I
Is
guess I
that,
would prepare that.
yeah, I mean, is that sufficient? Just that, or does it need to be more than that? Maybe we can add a page to the website with additional information that can be connected on that part of the pamphlet.
Okay, I did add a page on the website. It just, you know, lists him as the operator right now, and I think it's our notice of intent, but
But
I
any
know
of
we
those
can
pieces that
add.
you created, even just dropping those on there, so if someone, you know, yeah,
Yeah, I think public outreach even early is fine. I mean,
yeah, might
Okay,
as well get ahead of that if we can. Sean, progress is good since B was approved? All that's left now
Yes,
is
and
B?
one item as far as the public outreach element or the public outreach item, if we have it on the website, it's really a good measure because the item would like to see how many hits the website got. You know, so it's a measurable thing. You know, so that will be a fantastic tool, I guess, to report in the annual report that we did the public outreach and there was, let's say, 10 hits on the website.
somebody going forward, on a slightly separate note, needs to be assigned, like, setting up Google Analytics on our website. Because I don't think that's,
Okay, and our website doesn't do the analytics.
they transferred it and then you had to set it up, and it's just, I mean, Civic Plus could give us that data, but for us to retrieve it ourselves,
Oh, okay,
it needs to be set up to a back-end user.
okay. Reporting the hits, like you just mentioned, is that something to do?
Is that something, I'm sorry, Tony, you cut out, I didn't hear you.
So reporting the hits in terms of public outreach on the website, is that something that's a report we'll have to provide to IDEM?
Yes, absolutely. They would like
Okay.
to see any type of measurable public outreach. So, for example, maybe numbering the pamphlet or the brochures, or the number of hits, or a counter on the website, the Facebook, how many views. So, any type of measurable numbers, I guess, they would like to see that. Yes.
Okay.
yeah, they want even like tracking how many times events we have, like if we have a public outreach event, that kind of stuff, if we track that, that's what they want us to report on our annual.
Okay. Good to know.
The other thing that I should probably bring up too is I'm working with the engineers on our SWEP program to where I have to give it to each department, and we have to look at where our facilities are discharging to. So that's one of the part of this that I'm working on right now. That Shim sent me, his assistant sent me. What's her name, Shim? I don't know why I'm escaping her name. Nicole, is it?
Nicole Massacre.
So she sent me it and some samples that we're gonna use, but I gotta get with Brandon and the police department here, us, town hall. And we actually have to measure and actually show our student discharge and actually identify it on a plan. So we'll be working on that as.
Is that, okay,
Yeah, we're ahead of the game.
any quick question?
Yeah, I think it should still fall under old business. I'm pretty sure it was last meeting I asked if we were gonna look into any kind of future grants for any projects that may come up, and we're trying to find out what has to be done.
So,
Yes.
Jim, I think I answered my answer, I guess, to the question, I guess, for the project themselves. If it's an infrastructure project, we might be able to find a grant. But for the program itself, the MS4, unfortunately, it's a mandated, unfunded program. So there is no grant to actually manage the program itself, but there might be grants for the actual project. So for example, regrading the ditch or adding a stormwater system. So we might be able to find something for a specific project, but for the program entirely, I doubt it.
Yeah, we have to identify the projects first, then look for the grants.
Exactly.
Okay, like I said, I'm new at this here, and I know other towns are charging their residents a fee monthly to take care of them, for them. Just kind of looking toward the future, see if we can get money rather than hit our residents up for it.
Well, most of the towns, they are charging because they don't have it in the budget to manage the program, as they have an older system that is not mapped well or it's not managed well. In the case of the town, we are lucky to have the town way ahead of the program, I should say, because it's fairly new subdivisions. And we have it mapped, and we have a lot of CAD system, and we have a lot of records, I guess, for the storm system, that we are way ahead, more than any probably other town around us.
But I do think it's fair. I think last month you talked about looking at neighboring communities and or communities the same size with us who are doing that. And I think that that would be a good place to start in terms of just looking at if there were a fee, where might that fall, or what would that look like? So I think that's something for sure. To be prepared, because that'll take, as with any fee, public hearing. And then once adopted, if adopted, 90 days before that's in effect. So you don't want to wait till you need the money and have nothing.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this. Let's say half of Burns Harbor is older structure. That's what there is for storm sewers is outdated, I guess.
Well, look at Hagland, right?
And then I remember what the road, Side Road is. That's been there since it comes up at an angle. What is that road?
Airport?
My road?
No,
Oh.
Side.
McCool.
Oh,
That road's been there since the 50s. So I don't know if there's any kind of storms were there.
McCool's not ours though, right?
Yeah.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it kind of loops around.
Oh,
Yeah, Shady Side Drive.
I guess I never noticed it on the street. Inventory.
I think there's only maybe 5 houses on the whole road, if that. All right, that's all my question was on that.
All right, Hagland Road storm sewers.
So Jim and I talked, we did get to do from, the point that we were really concerned about all the way to, Westport Road. And the good part is the pipe looks really good. It does have some holes in it, but no cave-ins or no huge displacements. So I talked to Jim about that. And he felt that, you know, that stops our, lack of better terms, sense of urgency, but we should still look at either talking about point repair or sleeving it. The other opposite direction, far as we could see, before our camera fell into one of the pits, the structures, it was the same. So we believe that we'll be able to sleeve that, and then to go further, the problem we're running into, and we struggled, Adam's here to testify as this, our camera, we found out, is not designed for large pipe because of the type of crawler it is. It likes to flip over because it likes to try to crawl up the pipe, and so we can't direct it. It actually needs a larger wheelbase for that type of pipe. We were able to do it, and we figured out some ways to be inventive of it, but I believe we got the footage. If we need to go all the way down to Babcock, I would say if we decide to sleeve that, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking out of turn, at that time when we bid them to finish videoing the part that we're not as concerned about as part of the project, if we decide to sleeve it or do point repair.
So if we do sleeve, then we don't need NIPSCO to move anything.
That is correct.
And if we do sleeve, is that like minor disruption to like the roads and all of that?
Oh,
Traffic?
it's very minimal, if any, disruption. I mean, it'll be basically they will insert the cured in place pipe in one of the structure, and they take it from the next structure down. But before we get to that point, I guess I just would like to recommend that we do the entire system all the way to Babcock Road, before we decide on which section should be lined, and to get an accurate recording, I guess, even though that I understand the difficulties, I guess, for the equipment that is owned by the town, or Bill tried to actually do it, which I'm glad at least he saw that the pipe is in good condition enough to receive the cure in place pipe, which is the lining.
What do
So
you think?
my thinking,
What
I
do you
guess,
think the
is,
diff?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
What I was thinking, I guess, is that we go kind of all the way, kind of camera all the entire system all the way to Babcock Road to find the section that need actually the lining, and we line those sections instead of lining a section that probably doesn't need it.
So Shim, on that, because I know from experience even with the sanitary, when we're talking about point repair or sleeving, the company is going to come out anyhow to give us an accurate quote. They're gonna come out anyhow and run a camera and clean that system prior to that. So should we include that if the board so fit? Should we include that as part of the process to get an accurate quote on that, or will they quote us just by assumption?
Well, no, not by assumption. In fact, the most of the quote usually is by the thickness and the size of the pipe, the existing pipe, and the thickness is based on the condition of that pipe. So the thickness of the liner. So we have to calculate that in order for them to bid it accurately, and then they verify in the field after we specify the thickness, and we specify a camera before and after, just to make sure that there is no missing spot that we missed of the condition of the pipe. So the verification, it's a verification actually for the cleaning and for camera before the lining. But at the time of bidding, we have to specify the thickness of that liner. And in order to specify that thickness, we have to have an accurate video.
So we have the prep work we have to do prior to the bid.
Correct. I mean,
what do you think the cost difference is based, originally we were gonna replace everything and all that. I mean, if there's gonna be a savings, right?
It might be not much saving, but it's definitely less disruption, and it might be much saving in the condition of the pipe that is being good condition. So the thickness of the liner might be much thinner, I should say. But it's I hate to say that without seeing the entire system, I guess.
Yeah. Is there a best time of the year to do a lining?
I would say spring in case of the liner, actually, because they usually cure it with they inject hot water into the liner, and it will push the liner basically to the inner side of the pipe. Mm-hmm. And they will leave that water to probably cool off in 8 hours or so.
Okay.
So the time to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you're fine. Go ahead.
What I was saying, I guess, that the time to cure, the longer the time to cure, the better the cure is. So I would say springtime probably will be good.
And the town has previously designated some of the ARP money and matching that, I think with CDIT or some something, because of what
CCI.
CCI sewer, right, sorry, thank you.
Mhm.
But when the ARP money needs to be spent by the end of next year, right?
So it has to be obligated
Okay,
by the end of the year, and by obligated in the Code of Federal Regulations is you have to have basically the project awarded or a purchase order, you know, in the
Okay.
works, a
By-
contract by the end of next year. It
By the
has
end
to
of
be expended by the end of 2026. So there's a little more time.
okay,
Again,
but we have to clean camera the line, so we know what we're expecting, so they can come out and bid it to know what they need to do. And
That is correct,
then,
Tony, and yeah, and my thinking, I guess, or the approach, it's changing right now to sections and maybe have divisions of the bid to make sure that we allow it for the budget, the specified budget, so we don't go over the budget, since the pipe is somewhat in good condition.
so you're saying do it in sections?
I guess do it in divisions. So the worst section will be Division 1. Division 2 will be the second one, Division 3, and you can pick and choose which division that you would like to see based on the budget that we have.
And we'll determine that after we clean and camera it?
That's correct.
Okay,
Well, we've already cleaned the whole system. So
Right.
what we need to do, Shem, is we need to find a contractor that has the equipment capable of cameraing large storm system. Not
Sure
large,
thing.
we're not city of Chicago, but you know, the 12-inch. Because again, it's gotta have the right crawler with the one for the corrugated tubing, which ours is not. So I
And
don't
we can get quotes, I guess, from a contractor to do this type of work because the work will be most likely less than the threshold of 50,000, and it's a prep work. It's not a construction work, so it's a performance, and it's cleaning, so it's maintenance as well. So by the next meeting, maybe we'll get 3 quotes from 3 different companies that do the camera and cleaning.
yeah. Because, right, we have until the end of next year to award the bid, but since we only meet every 2 months, we have to get that going.
Sure thing.
Although,
but
so we'd meet again in December.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, that could fall in what we could be in November if we need to get it
Yeah.
done.
We could, and do you think we might need to do that, Shem?
No, I think December, that will give time to actually get quotes back. And, you know, once we get the quote back, we will circulate them to everyone. And at that time, we can meet. If we get them early, that's wonderful. If not, we can meet by December and report.
Okay, I think we just have to start moving, so we
Sure.
can get that wrapped up in time to be able to use that money. Cool, thanks.
You're welcome.
New business, financial reports. Any questions or comments? And, no claims?
No.
No claims tonight. Go to the order of the community and any other business?
The only thing I have, just to make sure the rest of the board is aware. That Adam, and, Brandon, the, town council elected to allow me to send them to the MS4 compliance inspector class. So they will be going to be able to assist and help out with, the MS4 and inspecting the stormwater system and compliance of contractors and people that are, excavating and things like that, for MS4 compliance, so. We'll bring everybody know.
Thanks, Adam, appreciate it. More people doing it, knowing what's going on. Any other go to the order? So, announcements, we'll meet again December 20th. Is everyone okay with that? No one's gonna be out of town or anything? I'll be here. You all right with that?
Oh, yeah. Disregard, I'm good with it.
Right? Okay, okay, Jim,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.